So let's talk a little bit about the effectiveness, improving the effectiveness of your time. So what would you consider are the major resources for your business? The hint is on the screen.
Time, money, people.
Time, money, people. All right. How did you know that? All right. So which of these do you have the most control on?
People.
Time. How many of you say people?
Yeah. Your own time. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a time.
It's a time.
Your own time.
All right. Sorry. Okay. So basically, yes, you can control people, but really, can you? You can set up the culture, you can set up the KPIs, get them, hire them, but that you can only control them. So you can actually guide them, you can get the culture right, make them happen, but you really can't control people as to what they do. Money, you have a little bit more control on, at least once it comes into your bank account, but getting it in, you don't have as much control. But you talk about time, and especially your own time, then that's the one that you really have control on. And so how much do you think your time is worth per hour? 100 pounds, 200 pounds, 500 pounds? For business owners and business leaders, your own time is extremely valuable because you are actually creating jobs, you're creating products, you're creating services, you're contributing so much, and that's extremely valuable. There was a story among the TAB members so one of the partners of the TAB member valued her time at somewhere around 300 pounds. And one day there were some suppliers coming to visit them, and she decided to go to the airport to pick them up. And that would have taken about 3 hours. And that's when the partner raised a question. If you valued yourself per hour at 300 pounds, you're going to be spending 1,000 pounds to do that? And that clicked in and made the realization. She called up a limo service, got the suppliers picked up at the airport and brought them in. Saved a few hundreds of pounds, but not only that, we got a couple of hours to work on the business rather than in the business. So if that's something that you would associate with, then I'll get into a couple of steps as to how to do it. Now, having said that, just a warning there, it does not mean that we all have to do things, sweeping the floor, putting these folders together last night, that maybe is below our pay grade. That happens. That's the real life of being a business owner. But it is a question of trying to find the right balance and getting there. So what can you do about it? So step one, decide on what your platinum activities are. These are things like strategic planning, setting the company direction, building partnerships, and of course, engaging with customers. It's up to you to decide what your platinum activities are, but that's very much up to you. The next thing is, and I think this might be one of the key things that you want to take away. Take a blank piece of paper. On top of it, write to don't list. Keep that piece of paper around somewhere where you will have easy access to when you're back at work. And every time you're doing something that you think could be done by someone else more effectively, write it down. This is not a one-time effort that we're trying to do here, but it'll be really good if you kind of build it in and keep it with you, keep a to-don't list, and try and do that. Some of us, especially when we are small, when we are starting off, it's not going to be easy to fob things off to others. So I have a pretty long to-don't list, and I'm not past all of them out yet. But at least what I've done is, on my personal targets, this is something, when I get to this point, I am going to do that. And that's one of my KPIs, so to say, to do that. So have a look at that. The last thing is third point, once you have these things, to decide what's your prime time. How many of you are early morning birds? Yeah. Only one. The rest night owls. So your prime time could be either early morning for the night owls, it's possibly early afternoon or whatever it is, but decide on what your prime time is and then make sure you carry out your platinum. Reserve that time and say, I'm not doing anything else other than my platinum activities during that day. Now, let me put a to-don't list, and this one is. And over time, you're not likely to be able to do it overnight, but over time, then you can start looking at how you felt. And why this is so important is about unlocking the value of the business. So think about for yourself to say, hey, if I had these 3 hours that I was shift from to-don't list to platinum, multiply that by your hourly rate. That suddenly becomes the value that you have unlocked. It's an unrealized value in your business currently. That helps drive up your business value. So that's your motivation. Look at that. Get that in there. All right, so I hope that was useful.